So basically, Borkson's having a mini panic attack now that she's been forced into saying yes through her actions. I feel like she should have understood the risk, considering she's so ignorant when it comes to Nen. She's very good at hiding her internal freakout though. As much as she's feigning innocence right now, Morena knows that Borkson cheated, and that's the real reason the yes card was forced upon her. And I don't trust Morena's gentle look, knowing that someone who is unwilling to be in the Hell Lee is now joining them. Borkson should be very afraid. Also, no, I don't think that she could fix Morena. And without needing to ask, Morena figures out exactly the way Borkson did it, asking to see the cards, marking them, and making it as invisible to the eye as possible. But she even guessed where the marks were left, and why both she and Orage couldn't spot them on the cards from their angles. This just tells me that Borkson is a pretty sneaky lady herself. You know, to have considered the view of both of them as well. The card being crushed was an easy hint though, so it's no surprise Morena knew why she did it. I didn't know if it's better that Borkson admits to her cheating or stays quiet like she is, but honestly, the result probably wouldn't change. As for why the yes card was forced on her, well, the game itself comes from Morena's Nen. If she hadn't tried to manipulate the game, Borkson wouldn't have activated the manipulation ability hidden within it. But I can't blame her for not wanting to leave her fate up to 2 cards. But what's interesting is that it could have been the yes or no card given to her because of the cheating. If you were Morena, wouldn't you want to kill someone who cheats rather than keep them around and risk betrayal? Or is Morena so desperate for her specialist ability that she thinks it's worth it? They're looking for others on board though, which we know there are, so she isn't that necessary. And with no other options, Borkson agrees to join them. But just from how quiet she is, you know she's planning all her next steps already. And right after the Hail Lee members clap for her, she's pushed down by force, as if made to bow to Morena as the leader. This is where things get serious. So just like if Borkson had gotten the X card, she's now safe from being targeted. And so are those she cares about. For now at least. As for Morena's ability, Contagion is like a mixture of a game and a networking app since they're all connected. And she can see their levels and status. Morena also sees points and abilities of all allies, and as long as they haven't finished the game, I guess by killing the Kaken Empire at the very least, Morena hasn't died or the phone isn't broken, it'll keep going. Also, Morena reminds her of the 3 conditions to be a full-fledged member, with the one about witnessing a murder by another member having yet to be completed. But until she becomes a true member through that rite of passage, she can't move freely. In other words, it's in her best interest to quickly watch someone die, sadly, so that she can then regroup with her actual allies and figure out a plan. And despite the Hail Lee seeming pretty cutthroat, I've yet to see them fight or betray each other. Even though Morena says it's allowed, but the look she has when saying that makes it seem like it's not a good idea. After witnessing a murder, Borkson will be at level 1. And to go up to level 2, she will likely have to kill someone herself. If it's a civilian, it's a level 1. A Nen user is 10, and a prince is 50. I'm surprised it's not more actually, considering Morena wants to destroy Kaken anyway. Also, considering what we find out later in the chapter, there might be a way for Borkson to actually hit 50. There's also the option to not level up past 1. But if she does that, there's the risk of the Hail Lee turning on her and pruning her from the family. In other words, it's definitely recommended that she take down some people if she wants to stay alive. But at the same time, we know Dogman's still out there sniffing out specialists, and if they find one with the same bloodlust as the family, or Morena herself, then it's game over for Borkson, and she just wanted a quiet life. And now she's considering homicide just so she can eventually turn on them or kill her way out. Needless to say, Borkson needs to awaken her Nen ability, so it seems inevitable. But anyway, Borkson stands up, ready to go back to her allies. And as much as Morena points out that they're her allies too, they really don't feel like it. She's just someone who made a bad choice and is stuck with them now. But seeing as she's with them now, Borkson might as well find out everything she can. So she has Morena guide her back to where she was, while explaining the details of the members. Once again, she's trying to get as much information as possible, not only in case she's killed, but to use against them. Now rejoining the cock and guard side of things and martial law, everyone's being treated like criminals and threatened with bullets if they move. Everything on tier 3 seems to be normal, but another guard discovers an S case, the same poison that was discontinued because of it needing to be used in close quarters. As much as I'd like to say the only big problems are with the Hail Lee and martial law right now, it's really not. Now that Benjamin's team have discovered the Hail Lee's Nen trap / portal, there's a lot more that can happen, like other factions being involved with whatever Phaeton and Finks are currently doing. But Benjamin doesn't have time to deal with mafia families right now, even if they might have discovered the Hail Lee's base of operations. The third squad can deal with that because he's got his own plans right now and they're extremely time sensitive. Part of why he called martial law was to be able to round up any prince that could be a threat to him. And some of the highest ranking, like Zhang Lei and Lazarus, are completely out of his grasp. They know the direction Zhang went, but haven't caught him yet. And unsurprisingly, the lower princes aren't as much of a priority as those two. He's also hiding his true motives by suggesting that Zhang is with the mafia family he's connected to, but the same could have been said for Lazarus. More importantly, Benjamin's internal thoughts seem more stressed than he's letting on. He's been infected by the chemical weapon, and he only has about 10 hours left to finish the succession war if he wants to come out on top. The fact that he's planning to kill or force the other princes into submitting to him before he dies shows his strength of will, that's for sure. But I just wish that we could have heard an inkling or caught a glimpse of however Balkenberg was able to get him infected. Did he go into his quarters, like disguised as Balsamico, and just straight up open it to infect Balsal's body too? And from there, he'd have no choice but to return to his own body, if it's still alive. I guess we'll be getting a flashback chapter in the future to see how it went. But anyway, the only reason Benjamin isn't worried about winning the succession and then passing away is because he knows he has a child to take over for him. Pretty sure most people don't know about this child, except maybe the Justice Bureau. And even so, to get to that point, he'd have to find those 4 other princes with his body slowly deteriorating. And then I guess while on his deathbed, he'd have to get his father's blessing to pass on the throne to his child when he dies. The bureaucracy part seems like it'll be the longest to get through though. Because imagine if Benjamin gets all of the princes out, and then the king takes too long to officiate the documents, so it was for nothing. Still, Benjamin continues down this road to his inevitable death. The first step is to control all parts of government, so it's all under his command, and that includes the Ministry of Justice. He tells this to Bodabai, whose specialty is dealing with terrorists, Mizaistum, who's part of the intelligence team, and Kaiser, who we know is the ministry's chief prosecutor. But he's meant to be impartial, so Benjamin's plan would force him to follow some unusual orders. Mizaistum's at least willing to humor him, so long as Benjamin's reasoning for this takeover makes sense. But, we know it doesn't. The best way to make a lie seem convincing is to sprinkle in parts of truth. So Benjamin starts explaining that Halkenberg is working with Saridanik, which, he isn't. But that there's bioterrorism being enacted aboard the ship, putting everyone at risk. Half of that is true, but the lie comes in when he says that everyone is being interrogated and detained to see who the suspects are. But the main problem is all the princes he has in custody, and how he's using them as a way to force his control of everything. Sounds eerily like a certain leader in Asia recently. And Benjamin's also using intimidation, but I doubt that would work on the Zodiacs with all their experience as Nen users. But something that Bodabai notices is how unhealthy Benjamin's looking. He lies and says he's fine, but I feel like it would have been to his advantage to tell the men that he wants to control that he likely is infected. It doesn't go over Kaiser's head, who predicts that he has less than 24 hours left to live. And that's why he's pushing for everything so quickly. But all the missing princes have to do is just keep moving around. Or use Nen abilities that can keep them hidden, and Benjamin's plan will just be demolished. I don't really see it going this way with how forceful and dishonest he's being. I guess we'll have to wait and see who comes out on top, and if the succession contest is close to ending. On the bright side, we've got plenty of time to theorize about what's going to happen next, because unfortunately, this is the final Hunter x Hunter chapter of 2024. Yes, it is once again going on hiatus. However, I don't think this time it will be very long. As far as I know, Togashi has up to chapter 432 maybe already drafted and planned. So, in my opinion, it likely could return around mid-January. Don't quote me on that, but it is a possibility. But again, let me know in the comments what you think is going to happen, and also when you think the next chapter will be released. If you liked the video, guys, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.